Dear friends, youngsters, colleagues, and engineers, ladies and gents, I am O.P. Singh, Executive Director, Commercial and Regulatory Affairs, CSPTCL Raipur. Here I have come to introduce you some basic things which are highly required in dealing with day-to-day maintenance activities, administrative activities in the EHV substations and system. It is being gathered that due to large number of EHV substation increased and increasing day by day, now the maintenance works are lagging behind up to some extent, as one assistant engineer is looking after 3 to 4 substations surrounding to their headquarters. Therefore, I will let you know the initial things which are very essential to safeguard the substation equipment by adopting proper standard and maintenance practices. I have told you earlier also that it is very essential to save first the most costliest equipment in the EHV substation, that is power transformer. You must be seeing, or you may be seeing 20 MVA, 40 MVA, 160 MVA, 63 MVA, like that, up to 350 MVA. In 132 kV by 33 kV substations, normally we are having 63 MVA, 40 MVA, and 20 MVA transformers. All these EHV substations are having now fixed standards as made in the provisions of CSEREC or Central Electricity Authority Grid Code. CSEREC Grid Code has been extracted out from the CA guidelines and regulations in the year 2007 and was twice upgraded and updated, and the latest is now 2011 after amendments. CSEREC Grid Code is to be implemented or considered for use along with application of other codes etc. Just like this, the code shall be read along with the Chhattisgarh State Electricity Supply Code as well. CSEREC Connectivity and Inter-State Open Access Regulation 2011. Other relevant provisions of the Act and relevant standard following regulations issued by the CA along with amendments thereon, rule and regulations made thereunder. Like first, Central Electricity Authority installation and application of meters regulation 2006. This regulation gives the information, provides the standard about ABT metering, consumer metering, standby metering, tariff metering, and all that. If you go through this small leaflets, you most probably 7 to 10 pages or like that, you may go through it and you will find that it is very convenient for adopting the metering practices. Central Electricity Authority installation and operation of meters, Amendment Regulation 2010. You must download it from the online system of CSEREC or CEA. All engineers dealing with the substation maintenance or linked to this work should have Central Electricity Authority Grid Code as well as CSEREC Grid Code Supply Code. All this should be available in each substation, and they should read these books for adoption in their work. Central Electricity Authority safety requirement for construction, operation and maintenance of electric plants and electric lines, Regulation 2008. Central Electricity Authority measures relating to safety electric supply, Regulation 2010. Central Electricity Authority Grids Standards, Regulation 2010. Central Electricity Authority Technical Standard for Construction of Electrical Plants and Electrical Lines, Regulation 2010. Central Electricity Authority Safety Requirement for Construction, Operation and Maintenance of Electric Plants and Electric Lines, Regulation 2011. The structure of Chhattisgarh State Electricity Grid Code 2011 is having 12 chapters. Chapter 1 is introductory. The chapter contains introductory parts of the grid code and definitions of related technical terminology used in the code. Chapter 2 is a general. The part largely deals with the scope and application of these regulations and with the Grid Review Committee. Chapter 3 is Planning Code. The code specifies the principles, procedures and criteria that shall be used in planning and development of intra-state transmission system. Chapter 4 is dealing with connectivity conditions and criteria. Do you know what is connectivity? When a generator, we are adopting open access policy of the central government, which is dealing with the Act 2003 and amendment time to time. Accordingly, any generator, if wants to connect with your system, there is a procedure for that. Their interconnection with the intra-state system, either with the grid line, either with the grid substations or EHU substations, are called connectivity with grid. And here some conditions are there which they have to satisfy before allowing them NOC for connectivity. Connection conditions specify the minimum technical and design criteria that shall be completed and complied by a transmission licensee and user connected to or seeking connection to the intra-state system. Chapter 6, which is dealing with the operating code. The code that describes the conditions under which the state load dispatch center shall operate the intra-state transmission system and under which users shall operate their facilities, insofar as necessary to maintain the security and quality of supply and safe operation of the intra-state transmission system. The system is actually used by all, which is a state government system, and to be used by the public for dealing with better electricity. Scheduling and dispatch code. This is chapter 6. Here generator can schedule as per their requirement and dispatch, load dispatch center may dispatch their power accordingly for intrastate, third party open access, all that. The code deals with the provisions related to development of scheduling and dispatch code for the state of Chhattisgarh. Chapter 7 is called Protection Code. The chapter deals with the standard practices, protection practices to be adopted for transmission line substations connected to the intra-state system. Chapter 8 is dealing with the metering code. This chapter covers the standard technical specification of metering principles to the employed in transmission system connected to state grid. Contingency planning is dealing with the chapter 9. Here you can see various contingencies which are to be planned. Thus, chapter outlines the contingency plan adopted by the entities connected to the state grid code in case of total or partial outage of transmission system. They have got certain responsibilities also. Chapter 11 deals with the operation, event, and incident reporting. This chapter describes the manner of operation and incident reporting by the entities connected to the state grids. Chapter 12, data registration. All the users of state grid code have been made responsible for proper data logging and data communication to STU. This chapter describes these issues. Chapter 13 is dealing with miscellaneous items. This part deals with a number of miscellaneous aspects, including compliance with the state grid code, power to amend, power to remove, difficulties in dispute resolution, etc. In your EHV substations, you will find that switchyard equipments and indoor control room equipments. You have category of two type of such instruments, apparatus. Outdoor equipment mainly power transformer, circuit breaker, isolator or disconnector, air disconnector, current transformer, potential transformer, that is instrument transformers, insulators, bus bar, conductor and connectors, clamps. These are the outdoor equipments. The structures, supporting structures, where you install all these equipments. In indoor equipments, control and relay panels, VLCC panels, DC charger, DC batteries, station batteries, and their circuitries, etc. Nowadays, we have advanced protective system installed on the control and relay panels. Metering, indicating instruments are also there. Indicating instruments such as flow data, instant measurement like ammeter, voltmeter, megawatt meter, MVR meter, transfer temperature, winding temperature, pipe temperature, all these are there. Remote operation of tap changer panel, etc. In PLCC panels, we have got the direct signal transmission arrangement, that is NSD modules, which are used for line protections, long line, grid line protections. It trips the second zone and second zone fault in first zone. This is called carrier aided intertripping. This is essential. Both ends simultaneously transmit signals to each other, relays, both end relays, and they give command to the circuit breaker for tripping. That is called, and this scheme is having two types of arrangement: under impedance, over impedance, accelerated time, and similarly other also. But we are dealing only under impedance. Under impedance means 100% line shall be covered for first zone, though it is 80% of the impedance. The tripping of second zone, which is 100% line, beyond 80% from both ends, shall also be covered in first zone with the help of carrier intertrip. Therefore, these panels are also, these systems are also very important and used for protecting lines. earlier in year 2010 or 11, maintenance booklets for 400 by 220 kV by 33 kV substations, 132 by 33 kV substations, 220 by 130 kV substations were prepared by CCB by Honorable Shivraj Singh Saab, who was retired as a consultant advisor to CSPTCL, has prepared on the basis of his past experiences and available standards, and was circulated to all circles and division levels. Now, new circle and division may not be having this book. It is my sincere advice to please get the copied. Concerned circle should get the number of copies more and circulate to each substations, either 220, 132 according to their voltage level. These maintenance manuals, if you go through, gives the clear-cut idea what is to be done daily, weekly, monthly basis, half-yearly, yearly basis, and all that. So you will get a way how to work in the substations. Normally, it has been found that today AE assistant engineers are not acquainted with the proper maintenance procedures and durations for inspection of the EHV substations. Standard practices are being avoided either due to ignorance, improper knowledge, and all that. For this purpose, you should read grid code, maintenance booklet, and Central Electricity Authority maintenance code, IS standards for equipments, all that. Not only this, it is very essential for each substation to know each and every equipment of their substation installed in their substations, like power transformer, circuit breaker, instrument transformers, relays, metering, battery set, battery charger, and auxiliary supply arrangements, either AC or DC. This is also very important. If you know about your PT supply arrangement, where the PT is coming from switchyard and where how it is being distributed to other panels or indicating instruments or metering. Similarly, you should know DC supply source, where from it is coming, which switch box it is coming, and in which panel source is there, how it is distributed, and the fuses connected to this should be well acquainted by each EHV substation assemblers. For example, suppose a fuse of one panel get blown or trip circuit LV lamp is not blown. What do we mean by? You will get confused whether the trip coil of the breaker has gone, whether the trip coil is not getting proper DC, whether the lamp is fused. So you will get confused what has happened. And suppose, by the way, lamp is all right, but trip coil has gone. In that condition, also lamp will not go. So you will get confused. And in that case, whenever any fault comes in the system, the breaker will fail to trip and will cause hazardous maloperation to the entire system. So a substation should daily check their trip circuit LD lamps. It should be properly blown. They should ensure that each lamp is glowing and trip coils are healthy. They should measure voltages at terminal box, switch cubicle, in the switchyard of the transformer, circuit breakers, wherever it is being received for the operational purpose. Similarly, AC supply, DC supply should also be ensured its healthiness in the switchyard and control room. Heater illuminating circuits will also be checked time to time. First of all, you should know that when there is a problem in the system of auxiliary supply, like DC supply, in the HV transformers, what will happen? Your body protections, which are body protections? Like PRV, pressure relief valve, Bucose relay, winding temperature, oil temperature. So all these devices are mounted on the body of a transformer, whereas system relays are mounted on the control and relay panels. So suppose they are not getting DC, what will happen? During their operation, their contact will be made mechanically, but actual tripping will not take place, and equipment may get damaged, transformer may get damaged. So that's why it is very important for us. So all the sections should come in the morning. They should depute their staff. They should go sometime. For transformer, at least they should go independently. And for other equipment, they may send supervisor other to measure the DC voltage, AC voltage there. Tightness of control relay panel connectors should also be ensured. At CT junction box, PT junction box, earthing should also be checked. So general work, only simple general works, if you are taking care of on daily basis, you will minimize your fault things in the system. A pharma has been developed earlier during MPB course, which is still useful, and you people can adopt it for your knowledge and better performance. This is pre-commissioning test and checks for the transformers. If for each transformer you fill up it once and keep in your record, and each after 6 months or 2 months, if you maintain its, you update it and incorporating the maintenance data, so you will get the information and history of the transformer as and when required by anybody. This has transformer details, nameplate details. You should know what is mentioned on the nameplate details, what's its meaning. If you know this nameplate details of all the equipments, you will be knowing the equipment information. For example, if there is a board's order number and date, this you require when suppose some equipment gets fails during guarantee period or non-guarantee period, and you have to take up the matter with the OEM. In that condition, they require many times board's order number and date. Serial number of power transformer. This describes their lot of manufacturing that time and what kind of technology was used in such series of transformers. Make of transformer, voltage rating of transformer, current rating of transformer, MVA rating of transformer, percentage impedance. If it is a 3-winding transformer, then you will have 3 values. If it is 2-winding transformer, you will have only 1 value. Suppose HV/IV. Suppose it is a 160 MVA transformer having 220 kV voltage, 130 kV voltage, and tertiary is delta, that is 30 kV. So you will have 3 values: HV/IV, IV/LV, LV, and HV/LV. So you should know this percent impedance. Aisle quantity, vector group, total weight of transformer without aisle and with aisle. On-load tap changer make and type. Voltage range per tap, plus minus you should have, and so that you should get it confirmed when voltage is to be raised or lowered as per your requirement in the system. Accordingly, you can manage the tap operation. Transformer auxiliary equipments. What are the transformer auxiliary equipment which is very essential to maintain so that healthiness of transformer can be maintained? How is this? What are these? Fan motor, should know how many fan motors are there, what is their ratings, type of motor, whether 3-phase, single phase, supply operated, and number of fans. Then you should have idea about tap changer motor, complete control wiring of marshalling box. You should have cooling controls, tap changer control, and measure used for measuring the healthiness of insulation. Measure means insulation tester. Measure is a company which manufactures the insulation tester. Measure is not insulation tester. It is a company which manufactures several type of testing equipments. Sample of oil. Oil sample you should run in dry season, in sunny, so that it should be clean, moisture proof, without any contamination, and should be sampled in a prescribed bottle only. The following test results should be obtained at the time of commissioning dielectric strip with 13 mm sphere at 2.44 mm gap. Actually what is there? Normally what we see 2.5 mm sphere gap. VDV should be around 60 kV or so. What is the breakdown strength then? 60 divided by 2.5. Suppose our gap is 4 mm. Then how to know? You just see the ratio. It is now 2.4 divided by 2.4 means 40 divided by 25. 8 divided by 5. 8 divided by 5 means 8 divided by 5 means 1.6. So breakdown strength is 1.6 kV per mm. Right? So if you measure the breakdown strength, the ratio should remain same. You measure at 2.5 mm, 5 mm, 8 mm, 10 mm, but ratio will remain same. Better you should check as adopted today, it's a 2.5. The following test should also be obtained at the time of commissioning: main tank top sample, main tank bottom sample, conservator tank sample complete, OLTC conservator tank, selector switch tank, diameter switch tank sample, 10 delta 27 degree after filtration for transformer, its bushing, resistivity 27 degree, resistivity 90 degree, interfacial tension IFT, moisture content, acidity, crackle test, and IR value of the bushings, because most of the severe fault or most of the time bushing faults damage the transformer. So bushing should be given extra care. Breather, silica gel, oil in breather housing, that is also required to ensure that moisture is not entering to oil through breather. You should check daily oil level in conservator tank, oil level in OLTC conservator, R values of their correct position between main tank and tap changer, between main tank and tap radiators, between main tank and tap hose, the conservator, oil level in radiators, oil level in bushings, oil level in selector diameter switch, tank OLTC, check oil in WTI and OLTC pockets, air released from the following pipes: radiator top air release point, main tank release point, early neutral delta bushing point, HP bushing adapter. The bushing oil not connected with tank. This is not much necessary because the condenser oil, bushing oil is separate than transformer oil. It is non-communicating bushing. Calibration of oil temperature indicator, winding temperature indicator, repeater for OTI, repeater for WTI, checking of the explosion vent diaphragm, bushing arcing horn gap check. Nowadays we are not using arcing horn in bushings. 220 kV bushing, Starting and stopping of each fan motor checked for correction direction or position. This should also be checked with the temperature, OTI, WTI. This can be done only during maintenance. Ratio of WTI CT. WTI CT is having ratio. It is connected with the turret CT. So you must verify whether this ratio is intact or correct or not. Routine test transformer. In each 6 months, you should check the transformer to LT supply voltages as results like voltage ratio, magnetizing current, N delta, insulation values. For your ease, I have prepared one proforma, standard proforma for power transformer. Basically, if you fill up this proforma with full information by honest thinking, you will find that it is very, very useful for all engineers. They are dealing with the power transformers. This will give you the clear-cut picture, and during routine maintenance also it is filled once for each transformer. It will have its basic values since beginning. If you have got the records, proper records, you may fill it properly. If for new transformer also you are having the factory test results and all that, so very easily you can do it. Main thing is this proforma is since MPB time, and now I have updated it up to certain extent, keeping in mind the new technological things. I will provide this you through daily press or pen drive or WhatsApp, whatsoever be, and each engineer can take it and try to fill it up. Personally, they have to go to the transformer, its records and nameplates. All this, if they take care of this, they can fill it up. This will definitely improve their knowledge to greater extent. For example, if I say Bucco's first contact, so you must know that there are two contacts in the Bucco's. One operates at say 100 cc gas, another may operate at 300 cc gas. 100 cc gas, if accumulates in the pot, Bucco's pot, that means it is an alarm contact. Gases have started coming from somewhere inside the transformer. Further, if alarm is there and it is not being controlled, then what will happen? It will enlarge. Oil will be displaced and air will or gases will come into Bucco's relay. If it reaches to 300 cc, then transformer will trip. Both the contacts through mercury will get shorted and positive command shall extend to the circuit breakers via auxiliary relays. This is a body production part. Similarly, PV part, there is a PD, pressure relief device, PRD, or pressure relief valve, on main tank as well as on this. It is normally provided diagonally opposite on main tank, and sometimes it is provided for the large transformers on OLTC part also. The pressure device works on the principle of air pressure. When the transformer is getting some internal pressure rise, what will happen? It will, up to 0.55 setting or whatsoever, it will lift the lever. When the lever is mechanically lifted, what will happen? If it is the actual operation, oil flow will also come out and excessive pressure shall get relieved. So after when the lever gets pulled up, what will happen? It will short the contacts and it will straightway go to the trip circuit and it will trip the breaker because positive already there. That is the issue. So all this proforma, this you take it and go through one by one, and you may ask any question anytime. And if I will request the SEs to visit their substations one by one in all EHV substation along with their keys and see if these proforma have been filled in properly by them or not. This is only possible when you have interest in your work. Otherwise, it's difficult for you. In this proforma, we have talked of OLTC as well, transformer panels, insulation test values, OLTC panel values. Many times you will find that in the switch cubicle, if there is a moisture or that its cover is slightly bent, or there is a passage to enter the moisture or water rains or like that. So what will happen? It will moisturized, and there are a lot of electronic contacts, control system. There are a lot of wiring system, and connectors are there very close to each other. So what will happen? Its insulation value will get deteriorated and may create maloperation, because all the hose wires, WTI wires, OTI wires, all they are coming to this cubicle only. From there it extends to the control and relay panels. So false signals should not go there. I have heard many times, particularly in this area as well as in that other area also, that during rainy season, due to some internal fault in the DC system, due to moisture in the switch cubicle, maloperation have taken place. Sometime rainy water enters to the cable glands on the bucose or WTI, PRV. Many times it has happened that it has operated wrongly. So proper precautions should be taken when the cables are inserted in the connecting box. Then we are talking of earthing. For transformer, we provide HV and LV earthing system too, and they are indirectly connected through structures or the substation earthing. So what will happen? The overall resistance, due to many number of parallel paths and all that, the resistance will limit to the required values. What are the required values for the HV substation? Maximum 1 ohm during hot seasons. So what will have for transformer? You have to put the water arrangement also, water cooling arrangement also, so that moisture can be obtained or it can be kept wet during hot summer. This will reduce the resistivity of the system. Similarly, fan operation, differential relay operation, WTI operation, high temperature operation should also be checked in each maintenance. Before, whenever you charge the transformer, you must know what is HV voltage, IV voltage, LV voltage, ratio of the load sharing, and charge the transformer, and thereafter inrush current, no load power factor, and all that must be noted down. And then charging details should be mentioned. This proforma I am having, I have prepared it, and I will give to all of you in your up to circle level, and they will provide you further. Yes. Now we shall discuss on present metering system as per regulations. It is chapter 8 of this ACREC grid code. You may go through it. You will understand each and everything, all specific parameters required for metering CT, metering VT, energy meters, standby meters, main meter, check meter, all that it is prescribed there. It is based on the metering regulation 2006. Further, for open access metering, see, you should understand the basic metering concept for individual, open access customer, consumers, CPP, IPPs, and all those who are connected with the intra-state energy system and intra-state system. For example, if any consumer is fed directly from the HV class substation on 132 voltage, 33 voltage or 220 voltage whatsoever be, then if it is a consumer, then only tariff meter shall be provided by the CSPDCL distribution company at the consumer end. However, for monitoring purpose, we provide a auditing meter on the control and relay panels in substation end. So through this we can verify the consumption. Also, for open access metering is connectivity condition where the generator or CPP. CPP means any consumer having generator as well as captive power plant, load as well as captive power plant. So he has to use 51% of the generated unit for their purpose. Balance can be sent through open access. So that is the criteria for CPP. So here connectivity condition has to be satisfied as per requirement of the grid code. So at both this end means at injection point is our grid substation where it is synchronizing, and this point is where we have to connect ABT metering. ABT meter is nothing but it is availability based tariff meter. This meter records energy, kWh import export, kVRH import export, lead lag, all that parameter on 15-minute frequency average basis, and that data is that depends on the quality of power they are supplying to open access or injecting into the grid. So here also MVRH high and low parameters also included. So this ABT metering is only made for the open access and connectivity customers or consumers. However, tariff meter is for consumer end. Similarly, where two feeders are given, suppose some VIP consumers are there, like railway traction, like Vidhan Sabha, Lok Sabha, VIP feeder, where radio station, TV station, where if they are availing supply on double feeder, then how the metering shall be done? A cemented metering shall be provided at consumer end. And here both the energy meters will be independent at substation end. That in there you may provide summation metering. In summation metering, there is one main meter for circuit 1, main 2, check meter for circuit 2 or main 2, and summator will be main 1 plus main 2. This will sum only maximum demand and energy both. So simultaneous pulsing of both the energy meters will come to this third meter, which is called summation meters. So this we provide where double feeders are given, because you cannot sum up 2 MV of different meters at different intervals in arithmetic way, but should be vectorally summed simultaneously. So that is called maximum. Okay, that's there. Energy can be summed in individual meters. So that you can go through chapter 8, where the prescribed ratings, specifications, and conditions are there. CT should be 0.2S, VT should be 0.2. And similarly, energy meter shall be 0.2S. S is a special class, a special metering class. Okay, and this is dedicated metering system. And both in case of open access and in consumer case, both case now double this core of CT is required for metering purpose. In one core you have to provide main meter, and in second core you have to install check meter. In case of either of any problem, the other will be LD1 will be used for the billing purpose. That's the criteria. Okay. All this are going through this. Now I'm talking of protective relays. Nowadays, this advanced electrical system is enlarging very rapidly in entire country, and fault levels are increasing. So demand of fast relays have come into force, and now the relays are available that can operate even one cycle or two cycles. Numerical relays are there. So you go through the productive system and arrangement, and accordingly update your system and make the productive system faster for better production and reliability of power supply. Basic and most essential maintenance overview. So I told you that transformer is the basic main element where you have to take care of production. Then feeders are there also. Suppose incoming feeders are having fault and not getting tripped. So what will happen? If it is a grid substation, fault shall be fed from the either end of the EHV substation. So at the point of that, it will be dangerous or overall, and fault current will be very high there, and it will damage more in case of failure in any protective devices. We provide impedance relay for fast production as a main one on lines. For transformer, we provide main as a differential relay, and for backup protection online, we provide 3 overcurrent, 1 high fault. And in case of transformer, we provide all the 3 overcurrent on HV side, and LV side we provide 3 overcurrent plus 1 high fault. Similarly, for transformer, we provide overthrusting relays, under voltage relay, over voltage relay. Over voltage is of 2 categories: fixed setting, fixed DMT, indefinite time relay, and VDMT means it is instantaneous relays. So 2 types of relays we have provided. Just like IDMT, I say VDMT is also there. Inverse definite minimum time for current and inverse definite time for voltage. Then we have got the feeder protection also, backup relays are there, and we provide the gradational setting which shall be told to you by engineer Manoj Rai or any other my colleague. They will explain you further. You must know and have good introduction with your all equipments provided in the substation, in the switchyard as well as in the control room. For example, a substation should know what kind of circuit breaker you are providing for switching off, switching on. That switchgear must be well known to them. They should read the nameplate. They should they should go through the leaflets of the breaker, and very thoroughly they should understand the principle of operation, its specifications, ratings, and kind of operation where it is to be utilized. For example, normal duty breakers we provide for the transformer. What do you mean by normal duty? It will have one control system for all the 3 poles. And in case of single pole reclosing, where line protections are grid lines are there, front lines are there, we don't want it all the when fault is in either one phase, then all the 3 phases will interrupt. But there's only one phase, and after a certain time, it will reclose, and circuit will remain healthy in case fault is removed. But if it is persisting fault, then all the 3 will be interrupted in the second time. That is auto reclosing principle. So the choice of breaker is depending on the type of production required, transformer or for circuit lines. Now I am coming to keeping the records in EHV substation. Earlier there was a daily work registered in all EHV substations. It was compulsory, and each substation, SE testing, CTNC, and any other officers, whosoever be inspecting the substation, they should especially see what kind of work on daily basis are being carried out by the concerned maintenance staff, operating staff. that gives the clear picture about working of the staff there. So daily work restraint is very essential for safeguard of all working staff. They can prove that we have done this work this today. See, it is especially mean for the maintenance equipments. Maintenance of equipments. In office, if you are doing something, this and that something, that is different thing. But the maintenance staff, operating staff are not going to maintain all your this thing. But it is your duty to upkeep your office records. However, their help can be utilized. So you should maintain basic register record. MS register should always be maintained thoroughly. All material in their store lying healthy or unhealthy condition should be listed properly and reported to time, because suppose some item is kept in a spare but was not used since last so many years, and it is excessively kept with you. In other substance it is shortage. So if until unless you have the knowledge about this, you cannot share your spares with others also. Many times it happens that you need something but you are not having, and they need something which you are having. Under such conditions, exchange can be done if you know the listing of this. Further, some spares are like that if you keep for long period, then their working may be affected badly. Keeping the records in substation, MS register is very essential to maintain. Why? Because material at site, what material you received from any sources, where you have issued for this accounting is essential, because property register is the basic part of now for our accounting system of CSPTCL. And this is very essential for all A substations to maintain their material at site register with, and should always match with their store materials kept. Spare parts management. Normally, if you go through that grid code and CBIB manual, you will find how to manage spares of various equipments in your substation, starting your substation. For example, what is there? Suppose there are 2 transformer or 3 transformer. You must have bushing of either side, matching bushing. And similarly, if suppose circuit breakers are there, you must have 1 pole or spare for that, so that you can replace. So normally it is the principle that 5 to 10% spares can be kept for whole item. In that way, suppose you are having 10 bays. 10 bays means there are 10 circuit breakers. So one set of circuit breaker can be kept for emergency use. Similarly, current transformer. Suppose you have 10 bays, 30 cities are there in service. So 10% will be 3. You must have at least 3 in a spare, because you need not to wait in case of failure of city. You should act fast. Similarly, you should have 1 VT at least when you are having bus VT, CVT also. So all these equipment must be planned well for spares. It is not like this that you should keep 10 cities or 5 cities. It is not like this. You should have 10% of it. Similarly, relays, spare differential relay, spare distance relay, backup relay, and all these things should be kept in spare. In case of emergency, well tested in ready conditions. Further, earthing system. All A substation, there is a instructions that in the month of April to May, all A substation should check their earthing system, their earthing system by measurement of earth resistance of pits and switchyard. Accordingly, treatment should be done to improve the earthing system. Because what will happen if more higher earth resistance is there, the rise in the potential during fault should take place, which is hazardous for the human being as well as of the system. So all these things should be taken care. Now, energy balancing. What I am finding that today engineers are not taking interest in watching the energy in, energy out on their buses, substation of buses of different voltage. They leave this part on the operating staff who used to take reading, and they believe upon that. This is wrong. Many times you will find that bus balance is not matching, and mostly it has been found with many substations that there is a basic error, either multiplying factor error or there is an energy meter reading, because there are two types of readings in secure meters are coming: fundamental and total. Total means it depends on the frequency. Fundamental means 50 cycles energy. So definitely your total shall be lesser than the fundamental. So in that condition, we should be alert enough which reading we are recording and with what reading we are checking the balancing. So total input to the bus, total output to the bus is a node in the power in, power out to be balanced. Now, where the error will come? Suppose your auxiliary contact, your isolator contacts, your jumper clamps, and other things may be red hot or having more contact resistance and all that, so power loss may also take place there. Not only this, there may be metering error, PT error, CT error, cable error, whatsoever be. So these all things will verify where the problem arises, and immediately you can catch it up, because this bus balance energy meter reading is our basic now part of the tariff. Today we have to produce it in all tariff petition. Today we are getting 3.09%. Earlier it was 2.81%. But when number of sections are increasing, means load is approaching towards source. So the losses should reduce, technical losses should reduce. But what is happening? It was 2.81, then 3.05, then 3.09. Like this it is increasing. But it should be checked where the fault is and how it is happening. Right? Your voltage drop, cable should be checked. Your TTV should be checked whether it is properly tightened or not. Your connectors are okay or not. If suppose there is a less value of less insulation value, then also PT drop shall take place. So all these things should be checked in the system. Now in the last, it's a question. Now you ask me what kind of problem you are facing in operating and maintenance of your substation. See, don't talk of every time less staff. You should manage your staff. You should do the maintenance work properly. Not doing maintenance work and making lame excuses are always offense. And nobody will listen to your voice unless you make your efforts. In that case, when you are making full effort, and even then you are facing yourself some difficulty, then only you can discuss this. And we shall advise you how to solve the problem. These are the things. Okay? Solve it. Thank you.